Hey, so today we're wrapping up the 5 steps for purchasing your home. This one is building your future. So if you recap 2 step forward, now purchased your property, and from now it's what happens next. So let me dive straight into it. So just as a quick recap, here are the 5 steps that we've been through. As I mentioned, we've just purchased your property, you've settled, you got the keys, you moved in, and now time to think ahead. Typically, this might only happen about a year after, but I think it's a really good one to put up because it does show the power of property and what it can do for you in terms of future opportunities. So, I call it building your future. It's really about using your home for your long-term wealth. And when I say wealth, look, it's long-term options, really. So I'll get into that in a second. It relies on a key concept. And when you read, and I'm not saying we all want to strive or anything like this, but it's a good way to educate ourselves. When you read things like the rich lists and stuff like that, there's so many of them are reliant on property in Australia. And this is how they do it. They use equity in their existing, firstly in their existing home, and then building on their property portfolios thereafter to continue to use that really to be able to purchase more property, and it compounds from there. Now, I'm not saying we want to be major multi-property portfolio holders, but it's a really good insight, and I'll get into soon about some of the things you can also use it for. So really simply put, the term equity is simply the value of your property today, today being not the price you buy for the property, but what it's valued at any point in time, less your loan balance at any point in time. So I'll show you an example of that as well, but just very simplified first. So if your current value of your property is $500,000, let's say your loan is $400,000, you've got what's called 100,000, pretty simple maths, of equity. And then we've got what's called usable equity. And for you as nurses, we can use up to 90% of the property as usable equity. For most borrowers, it's 80% before you start paying lenders mortgage insurance. But the good thing for our ends is that we can use up to 90%. Look, you can go higher. It's not advisable, to be honest. But even if you wanted to go to another lender, you can still do it and pay lenders mortgage insurance. But 90% is a pretty easy one to do. So how did I work that out? Is simply take 90% of your current value of your property, which is 90% of 500 is 450. Take off your existing loan, and that's why it's 50,000. So your total equity is 100, of which 50 I call usable equity, not an official term. Now, here's some common uses for equity. So it's not all about purchasing investment properties, but it certainly can be. This is sort of, in my experience, the most common to the less common. So that's one. Second one is to upgrade your home and leave your existing property as an investment property, which is always a really attractive one if that's possible. Another one I see a lot is debt consolidation. So if you've got other debts you've built up over time, whether it be car loans or anything else, you can use that equity to basically fund that at a mortgage rate. You've got to be careful on that and discuss that with you in each of the individual cases. It can appear more attractive than it is, but with a bit of management of it properly, it's well worth thinking about. Or you could invest it elsewhere. So you didn't want to invest in property, you can use that money, take it out, and actually invest it into your superannuation or share portfolio, whatever you would decide. So there's just some common things that it's often used for. What I want to do is show you an actual example of this is a client who was using their equity to purchase a investment property, and we simply laid this out for them. I didn't have any savings built up, but it was really how we would fund the deposit. So obviously I've taken any details out. Now this one I will point out is a year old. I just had it on a slide, and I thought, I'll just use the same numbers because it illustrates the dates aren't important. But in this example, they purchased a year later. They wanted to look at what they could do, and so essentially, they bought really well. So there was a big price increase. We would not expect that for the last year, but it might take 2 years. Sometimes it can take 3. It just depends what happens with your individual property and the property market overall. But anyway, in that time, the concept is the most important thing. The price, the valuation went up. They they paid 460. We got a valuation at that time of 580,000 for it. The mortgage, they started off on a 90% at 413, call it, and they paid off a little bit of that at 390. Notice here the LVR, they started off at a 90%, and the current LVR is only 67% because it's worked out again on the current value of the property. They struck a really good fixed interest rate, which expires the next few months at 2.19% on their existing loan. But now let's get to the magic of this. So the equity available for this particular client, if she were decided to go up to 90%, is just under 132,000. So that means she's got as much as 132,000 without having any current savings to be able to put into her next property. Even if we were really conservative and just used 80% equity, it's still 74,000. So more than enough money there to have a few options with. Okay, so I just wanted to show how that worked in real terms. And basically, the discussion we then had is that we would add on to her existing loan, and she went ahead and purchased another property, and I think from memory she paid just over 400, and I think we took about 100 out. So it was between these two numbers is what we got for her, and now she's got her own property that she bought, the original one, plus an investment property working for her as well. So in a couple of years' time, we would do that again. And the nice thing about this, the way it compounds, then you've got two properties that you've got building your equity for you, okay? And a tenant's paying off one of them. Thank you. So that's how that works. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that just to give you something to think about building your future. Is it for everyone? No, not if you don't want to do anything with that. A lot of people are happy to buy their home, pay it down, but remembering on this one, your first home is not your last, and so you can either just sell your property and take the equity out, or pay it out basically and start again, or you could upgrade your existing, as I mentioned earlier. So just as a quick recap, just to wrap up the series, that's the building your future. There's the 5 steps that we've worked through. Hopefully you've got quite a bit out of this. Love your comments either way, and we'll see you soon with some different topics coming up. Here's how to reach me if you'd like to do that, and I've got to put this up as the legal disclaimer. This is just general information. Thanks a lot. We'll speak soon. Bye.